Assalamu alaikum everyone. क्या हाल है आप लोगों के? I'm good, alhamdulillah. So the correct answer to the question, let me check what was the question. X to the power 3 upon 2 is equals to. The correct answer is 4. 4 is the correct answer. You don't have to use logs, just use simple rules of indices to solve it. So good job. I can see a lot of you have said 4. So good job, you guys. You don't have to use logs here. Okay. वालेकुम सलाम सर, क्या कल पेपर कैंसिल होने का चांस है? आई डोंट थिंक सो. There's no reason for papers to be cancelled tomorrow. I mean, that's my take on it. I could be wrong. Let's hope I'm not wrong. वालेकुम सलाम. Yes, आज आ जाएगी वीडियो इंशाल्लाह. I've made it. बस एडिट होके आना बाकी है. आज आ जाएगी hopefully. So you guys can watch it. Okay. आज hopefully 9 p.m. तक I'll upload it. Okay. So will you be doing 0606? No, I won't be solving 2023 Feb March past papers because when I did, I got a copyright strike. I don't know what's up with that. So apparently you can't solve past papers that aren't officially out. So that's why I won't be solving. However, what I can do is I can post the solution, like the PDF of the solution, on my channel or maybe on my Instagram. So yeah. Acha, I'm streaming coordinate geometry right after this. Okay. My TCJ error saying? Okay, what's that supposed to mean? Acha, so for those of you who are watching, please like the stream so we can start and let's get to work. Yes, I'll post the PDF, don't worry. Okay, so here's the first question. It's everyday math, you can expect that. Okay, so let's scan the paper. Let's see the topics that we have. So here is everyday math. Okay, and then you have statistics, and there's a bit of probability in it as well. So statistics aa gaya with a bit of probability. Then you have algebra, pretty easy. Then you have, okay, so this is one of those algebra questions that leads to a word. I mean, I don't think it will lead to a quadratic equation. Khair, we'll find out if it leads to a quadratic equation or what. So here's trigonometry. Okay, further trigonometry basically. And then you have sets and Venn diagrams. Okay, then you have functions. Very seems easy, but let's see. Then you have graphs of functions. Yeah, you have graphs of functions. Okay, which although is not very common in paper 2, but sorry, in fact, yeah, it is common in paper 2. Sorry, I don't know, for some reason I thought I was solving paper 1, but yeah, here's graphs of functions. Now this is an easier question of graphs of functions. By the way, I've seen much more difficult questions. Here's angle properties of circles. It might have similar triangles in it as well. There may be a follow-up. Yeah, so see, there are similar triangles. And then this is statistics. Okay, I must have solved this earlier. Okay, so as I was saying, we have statistics, and I'm expecting a question on statistics in paper 2 as well. Then we have vectors. Vectors also didn't went untested, so you can expect a question on vectors as well. So yeah, that's it. Okay, so overall, let's see what the difficulty level of the paper is. Okay, let's start with the first question. Okay, now here's the first question. The first question is, in 2019, Nicole's annual income was 22,000. She spent 7,200 on accommodation in 2019. Calculate the percentage of her income she spent on accommodation. Okay. So accommodation में कितने पैसे गए? 7,200. What was her total income? It was 22,000. Now since you're supposed to calculate percentage, just multiply it by 100. Okay. So let's see, 7,200 divided by 22,000 into 100. So what do we get? We get 32.72. So we'll lock it at 32.7. 32. If you want, you can write it in mixed number also. 32 whole 11 upon 8 upon 11% because it's a recurring decimal. Okay, so I'll write it down over here. It's 32.727272 recurring. Her annual income of 22,000 increased by 4% in 2020. Calculate her annual income in 2020. So that means 22,000. We need to increase this by 4%. So how do you increase a value by 4%? You multiply it by 104 upon 100. So let's do that. 22,000 into 104 divided by 100. So that's equal to 22,880. There you go. So far, pretty easy. Okay, now then it says Nicole invests $2,000 in an account. The account pays compound interest at a rate of K% per year. At the end of the first year, the money in the account is 2036. Show that K is equals to 1.8. Now it's talking about at the end of the first year. Okay. So what you can do is you can actually use 1.8 and show that at the end of the first year, this is what the total amount of money is. Or you can equate it to 2036 and then show that K turns out to be 1.38. So many ways of solving the question. So 2000 is the starting value. If you increase it by K%, that means 100 plus K upon 100 to the power of 1. Why? Because we're talking about 1 year. And that is equal to what? That is equal to 2036. Okay, so here's what we get. 100 plus K upon 100 is equals to, let's take 2000 over to the other side, divided by 2036. 2036 divided by 2000, which is equal to 1.018. Now it's just a matter of cross multiplying, so multiply it by 100. So this is what I'm looking at. 100 plus K is equals to 101.8. So K ko subject bana lo. K equals to 1.8. There you go. That's your answer. Pretty easy. Find the number of complete years before Nicole has at least 2150 in the account. Show your working. Okay. Now, AdMath students might be tempted to use logs over here. Now, I will not suggest that you do that. Okay, you can just do this with a bit of trial and error. Now, notice that we now know that the rate of interest is 1.8. So, into 100 and 1.8 upon 100. Okay. And just do a bit of trial and error. What we have to do is, we need to raise it to a certain power so that we reach 2150. Okay, so let's do a bit of trial and error. Let's try 2 years. Let's see how much amount of money she has in her account at the end of 2 years. So 2000 into 101.8 upon 100 into 101.8 upon 100, close the bracket, raise it to the power of 2. So 2 पे raise करने से we're getting 2072.648. Okay, so clearly 2 is not the correct answer. Let's try 3. So if you raise it to the power of 3, again 3 also does not give you the correct answer. Let's try 4. Let's see what 4 gives us. So 4 gives us 2147. So we're almost there. 0.934. 2147.934, and but we're not quite there yet because it says at least, so that means it has to be greater than or equal to 2150. So 5 would definitely give us the answer. So 5 gives us 2186.59. So there you go. The amount of years is 5. And that's it. That's your answer. Okay. Expected threshold. Again, that question, I don't know what the expected threshold will be. Walaikum Salam. Yes, I do teach in Nixer Olevels. Concept related to linear law. I think I did a stream on linear law. Linear law is lined up. Okay, linear law is lined up. But if I do a stream on linear law, I'll probably do it on past papers. Okay, because conceptually it's very easy. Just learn how to solve a few past papers and that's it. Okay, now I'd like you guys to solve this question. I'm just going to take a minute break. Okay, just going to grab some water. And in the meantime, I'd like you guys to solve this. Okay. How important is vector velocity for AdMaths? Vector velocity for AdMaths has been tested. Okay, so it's definitely important. In fact, last May, June, there was a very complicated question, although it didn't involve velocity, but it involved bearing. So it's pretty complicated. Okay, did I miss anything? No, I don't think I missed anything. So mode is 4, median is 3. Okay, let's see. So the mode you can see is... Wait, are you sure the mode is 2? No, no, no. The mode is 4. Yeah, the mode is 4. Okay, so you can see what has the highest frequency. It's 4 that has the highest frequency. So that means the mode is 4. Okay. Then when you have to find out the median, so what is the median going to be? So notice that it says 50 houses, so that's what you're going to do. You're going to take 50 plus 1, divide by 2. So that means you're looking for the 25.5th term, which basically means that you'll take the 25th term and you'll take the 26th term and you'll divide it by 2. Now, if they're both the same, then whatever the 25th and the 26th terms are, that is going to be our median. So let's see what the deal over here is. So if you look at, now the question is, how will we find out what the 25th term is? So notice that the first 7 terms are 1, and then the next 11 terms are what? The next 11 terms are 2. So if you add the 2, if you do 7 plus 11, what do you get? You get 20. No, wait, you don't get 20, you get 18. Yeah, so 18, and then you have the next 10 terms, जो कि 3 है, सही है. So if you add 18 and 10, you get 28. So you can see that the 25th term will also be 3 and the 26th term will also be 3. That is why the median is going to be 3. Okay, if you want, you can sort of write this nicely because you're going to need it for mean. Or if you also want, you can actually do part C first, then do part B. Okay, so if you do part C, 1 has a frequency of 7. Okay, so here's x and here's the frequency. And 2 has a frequency of 11. And 3 has a frequency of 10. 4 has a frequency of 12. 5 on the other hand has a frequency of 6, and 6 has a frequency of 4. Okay, so how do we calculate the mean? Sigma fx over sigma f. So 1 into 7, that's 7 plus 22. So I'm just writing down the final result, okay, after multiplying. Plus 4 into 12, that's going to be 48. I would suggest you use a calculator, okay? And then 5 into 6 is 30. 6 into 4 is 24. Now you add this up, divided by the total number of terms, which happen to be 50. So let's see what we get. 7 plus 22 plus 30 plus 48 plus 30 plus 24. Divide by 50, so we have 3.22. So there you go. 3.22 is the final answer. Then part D. Part D says one of the houses is chosen at random. Find the probability that exactly 3 people will live here. Okay, so how many such houses do we have with 3 people living? So that's this one right here. So there are 10 houses with 3 people. So that's 10. Divide by the total, which is 50. So that's equal to 1 upon 5. Then it says 2 of the houses are chosen at random. From these 50 houses, find the probability that only one of the 2 houses has exactly 50 people living there. Exactly one of the 2 houses has exactly 5 people living there. Okay. So what is the probability that there are 5 people living in the house? So let's have a look at that. 5 people की जो probability है वो है 6 upon 50. Okay. So that means not 5 people. So that could be 1, 2, 3, 6, whatever. So not 5 people की जो probability होगी वो होगी 40. Wait a minute, 5 people is 6, so yeah, 44 upon 50. Okay. Now the question says that you have to find the probability that only one of the 2 houses has exactly 5 people living there. So that means it's possible that the first house that's chosen at random has 5 people living. So in that case, in the second house, you gotta have other than 5 people. So that means 44 over 49. Now remember, you're selecting 2. Okay, so don't forget to multiply, or don't forget to take 1 away from the denominator, because the only way that you can have 2 houses is when you do it without replacement. Achha. Now in this, the order that we have considered is that 5 people and not 5 people. Okay, but ऐसा भी तो हो सकता है कि पहली दफ़ा जब हम choose करें, so we end up selecting a house that has not 5 people, which means 44 upon 50, and then the second time that we choose, it's a house with 5 people living on it, with 5 people living in it. The probability of which is 6 upon 49. So either you can find out the probability of 1 and then multiply by 2, or you can find out the probability the way that I've done it. So either way, your answer would be 264 upon 1225. Now if this can be simplified, that's great. If not, 225, yeah. 264 divided by 1225, yeah. So if you can simplify this, that's great. I don't think you can simplify this. 264 divided by 1225, no. So that's your answer, 264 divided by 1225. And there you go. That's a 3-mark question. So that's your answer. Okay. What exam do you guys have tomorrow, by the way? Do commerce students have an exam tomorrow, or just science students? Sir, जो topics भी में आते हैं. देखो जो छोटे-छोटे topics हैं ना, like for example, kinematics, and then probability. So angle properties of circles. So if topics like these haven't come in paper 1, they can come in paper 2. But if they have come in paper 1, they're not going to come in paper 2. Okay. But then when you have topics like trigonometry, statistics, mensuration, algebra, these topics are tested in both paper 1 as well as paper 2. Physics ATP. Okay. Chale, good luck. No exam for commerce. All right. So here's question number 3. Question 3 says calculate P when Q is equals to 15 and R is equals to minus 4. So just plug in the values. That's all you have to do. 3 times 15 plus 5, and R is minus 4. So that means minus 4 squared. So let's see, what do we get? Sir, what was this code? Okay, so 3171 was basically when in 2021, when the actual exam got cancelled for O-levels as well as IGCSE. So they took one combined exam for both students, O-levels as well as IGCSE. Okay, and then the syllabus code for that was 3171. Okay. Last year I did a stream where I solved that paper. So it was a really difficult paper, by the way. I would strongly suggest you guys solve it. It's good practice. Anyway, this is an expand and simplify question. So free के marks हैं ये, honestly. So 6x plus 4x is 10x. 3 minus 20 is minus 17. So there you go. 3x minus 17. Now this is what we have to solve. So cross multiply. 3 minus k is equals to 4. Make k the subject. K is equals to 3 minus 4. So that means k is equals to minus 1. There you go. Easy marks. Then part D, using the rules of indices, x to the power 6 minus m is equals to x to the power minus 3. So we cross out the bases. 6 minus m equals to minus 3. Solve for the value of m. Take m over to the right and minus 3 over to the left. So m is equals to 9. There you go. Easy peasy. Okay, now here's a difficult one. It says a rectangular piece of card measures 30 centimeter by 24 centimeter. Okay. The net of an open box is made by removing a square from each corner of this piece of card. Okay, each square that is removed has side x centimeter. The area of the net is 576 centimeter square. Form an equation and show in x and solve it to find the value of x. Okay, so if you're removing a square and the dimensions of the square are x by x, what does that mean? That means the area of the square that you're removing is x square. Okay. Now, if you calculate the area, the original area, that would be done by doing 30 into 24, okay? And from it, we will subtract the area of 4 squares. So that means 4 times x into x. And that, according to the question, is equal to what? Is equal to 576, okay? So I'll explain this again. So initially, it was a rectangle, okay? The area for which we worked it out over here, 13 to 24. And then from the rectangle, you had 4 squares removed. Okay, now area of one square is going to be x squared because the dimensions are x by x, but since you have 4 of these, so don't forget to multiply it by 4, and then the resulting area is 576. So let's figure this out. 30 into 24 gives us 720. 720 minus 4x square equals to 576. So इतना मुश्किल नहीं था जितना वैसे मैं सोच रहा था. 720 minus 576 is equal to 144. So 4x square equals 144. X square equals to 36, which means x is although equal to plus minus 6, but we're going to go with 6 because x is a length. Okay. So again, pretty easy. The net is made into an open box. 1000 centimeter cube of sand is placed inside the box. Find the fraction of the box that is filled with sand. Okay. So first of all, let's find out the volume. Okay. Now, the volume of the box will be length into width into the height. Now, we have the height, which is equal to what? Which is equal to 6. Okay. But the question is, what is the length going to be? So, notice that the length is 30, but when you turn this into a box, so you lose 6 centimeter here and you lose 6 centimeter over here. So, that means the new length would be 30 minus 6, which is equal to what? Which is equal to 18. Same goes for width. जो कि पहले थी 24, but you lose 6 centimeter on both sides. You lose 6 here and 6 here and 6 here. So that's going to be equal to 12, and then the height is equal to 6. So what's the volume equal to? The volume is equals to 18 into 12 into 6, which is equal to what? Which is equal to, let's see, 18 into 12 into 6, 1296. Okay. Now, 1000 centimeter cube is the volume of the sand. Now you need to find out what fraction is the sand. So divide 1000 by 1296. So you do that and you have your answer, which is 125 over 162. And there you go, fellas. That's your answer. Okay, now I am getting the messages of cancellation of tomorrow's exam. Really? कल क्यों exam cancel होंगे? कल तो ऐसा कुछ नहीं हो रहा. Are you getting it from a reliable source or people who are looking forward for the exams to be cancelled? नेट चल रहा है बेटा. डेटा नहीं चल रहा, बट इंटरनेट इज़ वर्किंग. From study groups, Okay, my advice is just don't stop studying, okay? Don't think that tomorrow's exam will be cancelled and just stop studying, because I don't think there's any reason. Khuda na khasta, if something tragic happens, which let's hope doesn't. But until then, don't stop studying. Okay. I haven't received any such news, okay? If that was the case, then I would have definitely gotten a message from my school, but I haven't gotten a message as yet. So please don't think that tomorrow's exam are cancelled or anything, okay? Just keep studying. Anyway, let's move on. So here's a question on trigonometry. Let's see what it says. The diagram shows a sketch of quadrilateral ABCD. Construct an accurate drawing of ABCD. AC has been done for you. Now, if my memory serves me correctly, I think I have a video on this question, okay? So I am not going to solve this, okay? But you just have to sort of use a ruler and compass and solve this, okay? Nothing else. Then part B, okay? This is a part worth solving. It says the diagram shows a cuboid. TW equals to 15 centimeters. So here's TW. WV equals to 10 centimeters. So WV equals to 10 centimeter. RV is equals to 8. RV equals to 8. Show that TR is equals to 19.7. Okay. So finding out TR is basically the diagonal of this cuboid. Okay. Now the way to find out the diagonal of any cuboid or any cube is, I've explained this earlier as well. I'll explain it again. कि किसी भी क्यूब या क्यूबॉइड का डायगोनल निकालना हो ना, so here's what you do. Here's the formula that you use: length square plus width square plus height square. Okay, and obviously you take the square root. Now you can do it step by step as well, but you can do it directly also. So d is equals to 15 squared plus 10 squared plus 8 square inside the square root. Let's see what happens. D is equals to square root of 15 squared plus 10 squared plus 8 squared. So that's equal to root 389, which if you convert to decimal is in fact equal to 19.7 centimeter. ठीक है, centimeter है, meter है, centimeter है. ठीक है, great. Okay. So there are rumors that it might get. Okay, so for as long as there are rumors, let them be rumors. For as long as you don't hear anything conclusive from a reliable source, then don't believe it, for as long as you don't hear it from a reliable source, and for as long as you don't see an official statement. Okay. Part 2 says x is the midpoint of PQ, calculate TRX. X is the midpoint of PQ, calculate TRX. And let me tell you one thing: if God forbid exams do get cancelled tomorrow, the news will make its way to you. Okay, it's not like you will have to wake up and see what the news is, whether exams are being held or not. Then it's important news, and if a news is important, it naturally makes its way to us. Okay. Okay, now x is the midpoint of PQ. All right. Calculate TRX. How many marks is this? This is okay. इसके लिए तो काफ़ी मेहनत करनी पड़ेगी. खैर कोई बात नहीं. Let's do it. So notice that we just found out TR, and it turned out to be what? It turned out to be 19.7 centimeter. Okay, 19.7 centimeter. All right. Now we need to find out XR or maybe PT. Yeah, we need to find out XR and not PT. In fact, PT though we already have. We need to find out XR and XT. Okay, so let's start with XR. We can find out XR very easily. So notice that this will be 15 centimeter, and since the question says that X is the midpoint of PQ, so that means this will be 5 centimeter. So I can use this triangle over here. Okay, I'll highlight it in red so you guys can see clearly what I'm talking about. So I can use the triangle that I'm now highlighting in red to find out XR. Okay, so let's do that. 5 square plus 15 squared equals to XR squared. So XR equals to square root of 5 squared plus 15 squared. So XR equals to, let's see, what do we have? Square root of 5 squared plus 15 squared. So that's equal to 5 under root 10. Okay, so we'll let this be as 5 under root 10 for now, because it's not the final answer. So we'll let this be as 5 under root 10. Okay. Acha. Then let's talk about xt. Now, in order to calculate xt, this is the triangle that I'm going to use, which I'm now highlighting in green. I hope you guys can see it clearly. Okay. Now, since x is the midpoint of PQ, so that means this will be 5. PT is 8 centimeters, so that means xt will be equal to 5 square plus 8 square inside the square root. So xt is going to be equal to 64 plus 25, square root of 64 plus 25. So we're looking at square root of 89. Again, since it's not the final answer, we'll let this be as it is. Okay. Now we have the triangle that we need. Okay. And I'm going to redraw triangle XTR. So here's X, here's T, here's R. अब xt कितना है? xt हमने निकाला to be root 89. Okay. And how much is xr? xr is 5 under root 10. Okay. And how much is tr? That turned out to be 9.7. The question made us calculate that early on. Okay. Now the angle that we have to calculate is trx. So that's this angle. Okay. Now we can use cos. So cos theta, or you can say cos trx, is equal to, now remember, whenever you're using cosine rule, it's only the side that's opposite the angle that you're trying to find which gets subtracted. The other two sides, the included sides, what we call them, are the sides that are added. Okay, and obviously all sides are squared, so that's not something you really have to try and remember. Okay, that's understood. That's part of the formula. Minus 89 squared. Okay, and the same two sides that you're adding are the two sides that are divided by 2. They are basically multiplied by 2 also. Okay, so that means 2 into 19.7 into 5 under root 10. Okay, so if you work this out correctly, and then if you take the cos inverse successfully, so let's see what we end up with. Okay, sir, is symmetry included in paper 2 topics? I think there was already a question on symmetry, so we don't have to I don't think there will be a question on on symmetry in paper 2. Besides, it's not like you really have to sit down separately and study symmetry. If you've already studied it for paper 1, then you don't really have to study it again. Okay, so not something you should be worried about. I think you should be more worried about the more complicated topics such as graphs of functions, mensuration, trigonometry. Uski fikr aap zyada karen. Symmetry ये तो सब छोटे-छोटे topics हैं. Okay, so here's what I'm looking at. I'm looking at 0.29 something, and then if you take the cos inverse of the answer, so what we're looking at is 28.2 degrees. So TRX is equals to 28.2 degrees. And there you go. That's your answer. Now, any questions? अभी तक कैसा लग रहा है आप लोगों को ये पेपर? आसान लग रहा है, मुश्किल लग रहा है? 28.18 आ रहा था after taking the cos inverse, but then if you round it off correct to 3 significant, now since it's an angle, all angles are given correct to 1 decimal place. Okay, remember that it says so in the question paper. Expected threshold. Expected threshold, I think it's going to be on the higher side if you're talking about paper 1. If you're talking about paper 1, it's going to be on the higher side. So if you've done well, that's great. If you haven't done well, you can make up for it in paper 2, inshallah. Sir, will angle TXR be 90? TXR? No, by no means it's going to be 90 degrees. It doesn't say that anywhere. It doesn't say that anywhere that it's going to be 90 degrees. So 3D mensuration नहीं समझ आती आपके चैनल पर covered है जी बिल्कुल covered है 3D mensuration. I've done lots and lots of streams on mensuration. I plan on doing more, so don't worry about it. You can also watch the streams for IGCSE that I did for mensuration. Thank you. Okay, so let's do this question. Let's shade. Now my understanding is there was a question on shading. You guys tell me, what region are we going to shade over here? 1 2 3 4 5 6 7 में से क्या shade करेंगे आप? I'll let you guys answer this. 2 3 4. And I hope you guys are familiar with this method. Okay, if you're not, then I have a video on shading. उसको देख लो, समझ आ जाएगा. No, it's not my camera that's giving effects. It's basically when its view is obstructed, उसका AI थोड़ा परेशान हो जाता है. Finds it difficult to keep, basically finds it difficult to stay focused on me. Four, 7, 8, 5, 6. Are you sure about that? 4, 7, 8, 5, 6. It's just 7. Yeah, it's just 7. So basically, you can start like this. You can start by B intersection C. So B intersection C, may you have 6 and 7. Okay, so this is B intersection C. And then if you talk about A, so A has 2, 3, 5, and 6. So what's common between these two? It's 6. No, wait a minute. 2, 3, 5, and 7. Yeah, 2, 3, 5, and 7. So what's common between these two? It's 7. So that's why we shade 7. Okay. Now, here's part B. Okay. Now see how rotational symmetry has been added in the question. So in the universal set, you have A, C, E, G, H, J, N, R, T, Z. Okay. X is such that X has a rotational symmetry of order 2. Now, of these letters, how many letters do you think have rotational symmetry of order 2? Seven is the correct answer, yes. Yes, I do teach AdMaths, and I'm streaming AdMaths right after this, doing coordinate geometry. You're welcome. इसका जवाब क्या होगा? How many of these letters have rotational symmetry of order 2? Z, N, H. Z, okay, Z for sure. So Z or Z, whatever you call it, has rotational symmetry of order 2. Okay. N also has rotational symmetry of order 2. Okay. And H also has rotational symmetry of order 2. Yeah, so that's correct. No, C तो नहीं हो सकता. How C को 180 degree rotate करेंगे तो बेटा वो ऐसा हो जाएगा. You can't have C as C doesn't have rotational symmetry. Okay. Now, what about set X? Set X says that X such that has line symmetry. Okay, so how many letters over here have line symmetry? The letter A has line symmetry. Okay, it has a vertical line of symmetry. Letter E also has a horizontal line of symmetry. Okay, then G has no symmetry. H has two lines of symmetry. Okay, then N has no line of symmetry. R has no line of symmetry. T, however, has a line of symmetry, a vertical line of symmetry. And okay, C also, yeah, by the way, C also has a horizontal line of symmetry. Yeah, so A, E, H, T, C. Okay, then we have set Y, which is, well, we can see what set Y is. It's R, A, N, G, E. Okay, so now we have to one by one start placing these letters in the Venn diagram. Okay, so let's start with what's common in all three. So N is common in first two. H is N is common in the first and the third set. H is common in the first two. Okay, so that's interesting. There's nothing common in all three sets. Okay, so that's it. That means there's nothing that's going to come over here. All right, then let's talk about W and X. So let's see what's common in W and X. So there's H that's common in W and H. W and X, yeah, and that's it. Okay, so then let's talk about what's common in X and Y. So in X and Y, we have A that's common. Okay, so in X and Y there's A and there's E, and that's it. Then let's talk about what's common in W and Y. So what's common in W and Y is the letter N, and that's it. Okay. Let's write down all the elements that we have in W except for N and H. So that's just the Z. Let's write down all the elements that we have in set X except for H, A, E. So that means we're left with T and C, and that's it. And then let's talk about all the elements that we have in set Y except for N, A, E. So that means there's R, there's G, and yeah, that's it. Okay, now don't get carried away and just move on to the next part. There may be a letter that we haven't written in any of the three sets. Okay, and let's cross out the letters that we have written. So A has been written somewhere, C has been included, E has been included, G, H. Okay, J is the letter that hasn't been written anywhere. N be clear, R be clear, T be clear, Z be clear. Okay, so it's letter J that's outside of the three sets. Okay, then it says list the elements of X intersection W union Y whole complement. So W union Y whole complement basically means outside of W and Y but still inside of set X. So that's going to be T and C. That's it. Okay. Then it says find the number of elements in X, so W union X union Y, the whole complement. So that basically means outside of all three sets. Now there's only one letter that's outside of all three sets, and that's the letter J. So that's it, because we have to write down the number of elements, so one is the answer. So then it says using set notation complete this statement. So what region of the three sets is completely empty, or you can say completely null? So in that case, I mean in this question it is this region right here. Okay, so this region is W, X, and Y is basically the common region between W, X, and Y. So W intersection X intersection Y. So there you go. That's the answer. Now, looking at the marks, this was what, a 6-mark question, but looking at the difficulty level, I think it's fairly easy. Sir, Z should be not in W. Z should be not in W? Why not? It has rotational symmetry of order 2. Okay, now, so now I'd like you guys to solve this question. Do question number 6A, B, and C. Alright, let's have the answer if you guys are done. G of -1, what's the answer to that? That is correct. 3. So if you plug in -1 in place of x, so 12 minus 3 into -1 plus 5. So 12 plus 3, that's 15. 15 upon 5 is equal to 3. Okay, then f of x equals to 2. Solve this quickly. ये भी आसान है काफ़ी. 2x plus 3 equals to 2. 2x equals to minus 1. That means x is equals to minus 1 upon 2. There you go. Then we have g inverse of x, which means 12 minus 3x upon 5 equals to y. So remember, you equate it with y, then you make x the subject step by step. So I've equated it with y already. Now I'm going to make x the subject step by step. So 12 minus 3x equals 5y. 12 minus 5y equals 3x, which means 12 minus 5y upon 3 equals to x. And then in the end, don't forget to replace x with g inverse of x and y with x. So this becomes 12 minus 5x upon 3. There you go. That's your answer. Then it says find the value of x when f of x is 4 more than g of x. So f of x is 4 more than g of x. Okay, simple translation from English to math. Now f of x is 2x plus 3. G of x is 12 minus 3x upon 5. And then you have the plus 4. Okay, so you take 2x, you take the 4 over to the other side. So this is equal to 12 minus 3x upon 5. So 3 minus 4, काम करते हैं, let's just write it as minus 1 directly. We'll save some time. And now if you multiply it by 5, so you have 10x minus 5 is equals to 12 minus 3x. So 10x plus 3x is 13x, which is equal to 17. So x is equals to 17 upon 13. And that's your answer. There you go. Can I be mod? Yeah, sure. Why not? There you go. I'll make you the mod. Just be a responsible mod, okay? So won't we multiply 4? Okay, so I've taken 4 over to the other side. That's why it got subtracted. And then we cross multiplied. Okay. Okay, चलें इसका जवाब दें. The diagram below shows sketches of 2 of these lines. Write the correct equation below each diagram. Sir, 4 multiply नहीं होगा. I've already answered that, no? कौन सा 4 multiply नहीं होगा? हमने LCM ले लिया ना, इसलिए हमें इनफैक्ट हमने 4 को उस साइड पे लेगा ना, दैट्स व्हाई हम LCM नहीं लिया. सर मुझे भी बना दें सर, फिर हर लाइव स्ट्रीम अटेंड की. ओके, आई डोंट नो व्हाट दैट मींस. हेलो. Stream schedule, you'll find it on my Instagram. Yes, I do have a video on graphs of functions, and I'm doing a stream tomorrow on graphs of functions as well. So you can watch the video and you can tune into tomorrow's stream as well. Tomorrow 4 p.m. same time, inshallah, I'll be solving graphs of functions. Okay, so if you look at the first line, you'll notice that this line is basically, this line should have a positive gradient and the y-intercept should be negative. So how many equations over here have a positive gradient and negative y-intercept? It's the second one, which is 2x minus 1. Okay, now this line over here should have a negative gradient, but the y-intercept should be positive. Okay, so how many equations over here are representing lines with negative gradient and y-intercept positive? It's y equals to minus 2x plus 1. Okay, and because there is no other line, so there's no confusion. Okay, अगर और lines होती हैं तो फिर हमें थोड़ा और narrow down करना पड़ता. Okay, now here it says the diagram below, the diagram shows a sketch of the graph y equals to x square plus ax plus b. Find the value of a and b. Okay, now If you notice the x-intercepts of this line, the x-intercept is minus 3 and the other x-intercept is 2. Now, if we take a step back, or if you try and reverse engineer and go back to the equation, then before we would have gotten to this step where we would have said that x equals to minus 3 and x equals to 2, previously it would have been x plus 3 into x minus 2 equals to 0. That's how we must have concluded that x equals to minus 3 and x equals to 2. So that's what we're going to do. We're going to solve this. I'm not going to solve it actually, but we're going to go in the opposite direction. Okay, so we're going to take the x-intercepts, and from the x-intercepts we're going to go to the equation of the curve. So that's what I'm going to do now. Just a second. Yeah, so x into x is x square minus 2x plus 3x minus 6. So this becomes x square plus x minus 6. Now, according to the question, the equation that you should have ended up with is this: x square plus x minus 6 equals to 0, and equals to y actually. So we'll call it equal to y as well. And according to the question, this is what you should have ended up with: x square plus ax plus b. So what's a equal to? A is equals to 1. What's b equal to? B is equal to minus 6. And there you go. That's your answer. A equals to 1 and b equals to minus 6. Okay, pretty easy. Okay. Then it says the grid shows the graph of y equals to x cubed minus 2x squared minus 5x plus 6. X cubed minus 2x squared minus 5x plus 6 has exactly 2 solutions. Okay. Use the graph to find the possible values. Okay, so if you're asked to find out the possible values, that clearly means that there has to be more than one. Okay. Now, if it says that it has exactly 2 solutions, what does that mean? Having exactly 2 solutions basically means that you should have 2 points of intersection. Okay. So we're supposed to make a horizontal line in such a way. Why? Because the left hand side, if you take this equation, x cubed minus 2x squared minus 5x plus 6 equals to k. If you take the left hand side, notice that the left hand side is equal to y. So y equals to k is basically a horizontal line. Okay. And this horizontal line is such that it should give us 2 points of intersection. Okay, 2 points of intersection with the curve. So where can I make a horizontal line so that I get 2 points of intersection? Okay. And okay. So one possible value where I can make a horizontal line and get 2 points of intersection is this. And this is what this is: minus 4. Okay. So here we have minus 4. And then there is another point where if I make a horizontal line, I get 2 points of intersection, and that line is slightly above 8, but I think even if we write 8, we'll get away with it because we can't, there's no way to figure out the exact value, so I'm going to go with 8. So minus 4 comma 8. ठीक है, याद रखो solutions जब भी question बोले ना, solutions का मतलब होता है point of intersection. ठीक है. Okay, now part 2. Part 2 says, by drawing a suitable line on the grid, find the solutions of so and so. Now there's a pretty standard way of solving questions like these. Okay, you can have like 100 questions like this, and 99 of them would be done the same way. So first of all, what you do is you bring the left hand side equal to the equation of the curve. By adding, subtracting, or whatever it is that you have to do, you bring the left hand side equal to the equation of the curve. Okay. So we start comparing one by one. We have x cubed here, we have x cubed here. All right, so far so good. We have minus 2x squared here, we have minus 2x squared in the original equation. Okay, great. Now in the original equation, we have minus 5x. Over here, we have minus 7x. So what do we add on the left hand side? We add 2x on the left hand side, and we add 2x on the right hand side as well. Now in the original equation, we have plus 6. In this equation, we have plus 5. So what do we add? We add 1 on the left hand side, and we add 1 on the right hand side. So eventually the left hand side becomes equal to y, and what is the suitable straight line that we have to draw? It's y equals to 2x plus 1. That's the suitable straight line that we have to draw. Okay, so let's draw this line here. Ab koi bhi line that has x and y is drawn by taking points. So we're going to take 3 points to be on the safe side. If you take 0, you get 1. If you take 1, you get 3. If you take minus 1, you get minus 1. So minus 1, minus 1. Now be careful when you're marking minus 1 on the y-axis. Okay, 0 pe kya tha? 0 pe 1 tha. So 0, 1, that's going to be over here. and 1 पे I believe 3 था. Yeah, so 1 पे 3 था. ठीक है. Let me make sure of that. Yeah, 1 पे 3 है. So this is the suitable straight line that we're going to draw. And don't just join the 3 points and leave it at that. When you join the 3 points, make sure to extend it. Extend it so that the line can cut the curve at as many points as possible. Now when you do that, you will obviously have some points of intersection, and these points of intersection are basically your solutions. So एक ये आ रहा है point, this point is what, 3.246, so 3.6, there you go, one is 3.6, and then you have another point right here which is 0.246, so that's 0.6, okay, and then you have another point over here which is minus 2.2, yeah, minus 2.2. There you go, that's your answer. One and minus 6, no, it's not 1 and minus 6, it's 8 and minus 4. Yes, add maths at 6 inshallah, solving streaming coordinate geometry. Okay, now, so that's that. Let's do the next question. Mod बना तो दिया वैसे, अभी एक mod already है, ठीक है. Sir, when the add math grind for today will start at 6. Okay, I did a stream yesterday. Yesterday it was logs. Today it's coordinate geometry. Tomorrow, inshallah, I will do permutations and combinations. Inshallah. अच्छा, इतने आप लोग ज़रा ये सॉल्व करें. ये अच्छा ट्रिकी सवाल है. हाँ, इसमें एक प्रॉपर्टी यूज़ होगी जो कि इतना फ्रीक्वेंटली यूज़ होती नहीं है. So let's see if you guys are able to do it. There you go. Okay, expected paper 2 topics की video आ गई है, edit okay. I will upload it shortly. So just not shortly, in fact I'll upload it at 8 p.m. Yeah, 8 p.m. पे inshallah the video will be public. पेपर लीक करवा दूँ. ओके बेटा, और बताएं. Anything else I can do for you? Isn't P4 supposed to be like the easier paper? Add maths. Okay. चलें, ठीक है, done. Anything else? Tell what? सर इस साल कितना मुश्किल पेपर आएगा. बेटा मुझे क्या पता है इस साल कितना मुश्किल पेपर आएगा. आपको क्या लगता है कैम्ब्रिज वाले कोई मेरे रिश्तेदार हैं, वो मुझसे पूछ के क्या पेपर की डिफ़िकल्टी लेवल सेट करते हैं. Okay, I don't believe in predicted topics. Okay, you're right. Wrong choice of words. I meant the topics that you should focus on slightly more than the others. Okay, you're right. I'm glad you pointed that out. But ये वो topics हैं जिस पे आपने ज़्यादा focus करना है. क्यों? क्योंकि अगर आपने past paper solve किया, you must have noticed if you're tested in a topic in paper 1, then you're likely to not be tested in paper 2. Okay, and I'm talking about the small topics over here. वीडियो देख लेना, आपको समझ आ जाएगा. Okay. P4 is common sense. Well, a lot of it is common sense, but I think that doesn't mean that people aren't going to struggle with it. Okay, so do we have the answer to this? Most of math is also common sense, by the way. But still people struggle with it. What are your thoughts on P1? Yeah, I think P1 was easy. The value of x is 8. The value of x is 8. I don't know. Let's find out if it is 8. Let's see if... Nope. 8 to nahi hai. Yep, the answer is 58. Good job, Zara. Yeah, good job. Okay. Yeah, see, now you're talking. Now you're being completely honest. So POQ. POQ is 8x. So this is going to be what? This is going to be 4x. ठीक है. अब ये एक property है जो कि इतना frequently test नहीं होती. अच्छा, I think आपने x की जो value 8 कही थी वो... Okay, you were right. Value of x is 8. I was looking at the final answer. The final answer is not 58. So good job. Who said 8? Zara. Yeah. Good job, Zara. So x is in fact equal to 8, but it's just that it's not the final answer. So basically, we have x here, we have 24 over here, and this is 4x. Now, this is a very rare property, but just remember this. X plus 24 is equal to 4x. Okay, so that means 3x is equals to 24. And what is x equal to? X is equals to 8. Now, if you watch my videos on angle properties of circles, I've explained this property, and I've also explained the reason behind this. यहाँ पे मैं ऐसे ही बना देता हूँ कि ऐसा क्यों है. And if you want to understand how it works, then just watch the video. Okay, so here's x, and let's say here's y, and let's say here's p. So if this is the center of the circle, then just remember this: x plus y equals to p. Okay, now if x is 8 and you have to find out POQ, okay, so how will you find out P? Acha, PQO chahiye aapko. Okay, so 8x is going to be equal to 64. So this angle is 64 degrees. All right, and you have to find out PQO. So here's what we're going to do. We're going to do 180 minus 64 divided by 2. Why? Because we're looking at an isosceles triangle. So let's write it down over here. Isosceles triangle. So 58 is the correct answer. Good job. Okay. Then it says triangle KLM is similar to triangle KNJ. JKM and NKL are straight lines. Okay. The area of triangle, acha, then you're given all the lengths and everything. The area of triangle JKN is 75 centimeters square. Calculate y. Okay. Acha. सिर्फ y निकालना और कुछ नहीं निकालना. ठीक है. Okay, okay. How many marks is this? 5 mark. All right. So let's see how we can start. So, ek to remember this is going to be y degrees. All right. And if this is y degrees, then... And you have the area of this triangle, which is equal to what? Which is equal to 75. Okay, now the fact that they're similar means we have to do something with that. Okay, so what we have to do is this. A1 upon A2 is equals to L1 upon L2, the whole thing squared. So A1 is what? A1 is 75. A2 kya hai? Nahi pata. Okay, now we're going to use corresponding lengths. So if these two triangles are similar, so that means if I'm using Kn, okay, if I'm using Kn, then that means I'm going to use KL. So the corresponding lengths, or you can say the similar lengths, are 10 and 6. So this is equal to 10 upon 6, the whole thing square. Okay, now let's solve this. A2 would be equal to, in fact, let's not jump to conclusions. Let's first simplify this. 75 upon A2 is equals to 100 upon 36. Now if you cross multiply, still have the area of the other triangle, which is equal to, let's see, what do we get? So what we get is this: 75 into 36 divided by 100. So we get 27. Okay, so 27 centimeters square is the area of this triangle. Okay. अब इसका area निकाल लिया. Now you can find out y very easily, because the formula that we're going to use is this: half into a into b into sine c. So the area is 27, which is equal to half into 6 into 10.5 into sine y. So 27 into 2 divided by 6 divided by 10.5. Then you take the sine inverse of the answer. So you have sine y, which is equal to 6 upon 7, and y is equals to 58.99, which means it's going to be 59.0 degrees. And there you go. That's your answer. Okay, now I want you guys to solve this, okay, and give me a minute. I'll be back. इसको solve करें in the meantime. Okay. अच्छा या 8 into 8 करके तो आंसर आना भी नहीं था. First you would do 8 into 8, which is 64, and then you will find the other angle. Okay. So the answer to part 1, median. Did anyone find out the median? So what we're going to do is 80 है. 80 का 50% क्या होगा? 40. So you find out the corresponding x value of 40, and if you do it right, you get 42,468. So 48 turns out to be the answer. Is that correct? Let me check. Yeah. Then it says 60% of the students passed the test. Okay. Use the diagram to find the number of students. Use the diagram to find the number of marks needed to pass the test. Okay. Now, अब कितने students ने test pass किया? 60%. So first of all, let's find out the number of students who have passed the test. So 60 upon 100 into 80. So that's equal to 48. So that means it's the top 48 that have passed. Okay. Passed जो होंगे वो नीचे से नहीं होंगे, ऊपर से होंगे. So the top 48 that have passed. So what we're going to do is from 80, we're going to subtract 48. Okay. So that we can see where do the passing students start from. Okay. So if you do that, 80 minus 48. So that gives you 32. So 80 minus 48 gives you 32. So that means the first 32 students have failed. Okay. But it's the 48 students that have passed. So 80 में से 48 minus किया 32. This is where we are now. Okay. So here's 32. This is where we're at. So that means all the students below this have failed, but all the students above it have passed. Okay. So that means what were the passing marks? So we look at the corresponding value of 32, and the corresponding value of 32 turns out to be 42, 44. So that's 44. So that means 44 is the minimum number of marks needed to pass the test. Okay. Now here's part 3. Part 3 says using the information on the diagram, complete the frequency table. Okay. So 0 to 20 frequency 8 है. अब 20 to 40 के लिए हम क्या करेंगे? हम 20 की corresponding value देखेंगे. So 20 की corresponding value is 8, and then we're going to look at the corresponding value of 40. Okay, so the corresponding value of 40 is what? Let me do this with a completely different color. So let's do this in blue. Yeah. Okay. All right. Now this difference will be the number of students lying in between 20 and 40. So if you take this difference, this is 26 minus 8. So what's that equal to? That's equal to 18. So that means there are 18 students who scored between 20 and 40. Then let's look at the number of marks, the number of students who got in between 40 and 60 marks. So this is 58. और ये start कहाँ से हो रहा है? ये start हो रहा है 26 से. So 58 minus 26, so that's equal to what? That's equal to 32. So we have 32 over here. Then 60 to 80, so we already have the corresponding value of 60. Let's find out the corresponding value of 80, which is 74. So what difference is this? This is going to be 74 minus 58, which is equal to what? Which is equal to 16. Is that correct? Yeah, 16. Okay. And then in order to find out the final value, you can just add this up and subtract it from the total, or you can do it the normal way. अब ये कितना है? ये 80 है और ये 74 है. So find out the difference between 80 and 74. So that's equal to 6. And there you go. Pretty easy. Nothing too complicated so far. Namaz break. Okay, we're about to get done with the paper anyway. So then we'll take a break. From the curve, I think 40 lies on 48. Yeah, 40 lies on 48. You're right. Okay, now part B. Now part B says the time taken for 80 students to complete a science test are shown in the frequency table. Okay. An estimate for the mean time taken to complete the test is 67.625 minutes. This is calculated using the mid-interval value as an estimate of the time interval in each. Okay, so the question is being really kind over here that it's actually telling you how the mean is calculated. Otherwise, don't expect the question to tell you that. That is something that you should know yourself. So how will you calculate the mean if you wanted to? You will first find out the midpoint of every interval. So 45, 55, 65, 75 and 85. Okay, how many marks is this? This is 5 marks. Okay, now basically you have two unknowns. You have P and Q. So that means you need enough information to find out the value of these two unknowns. So what we'll do is we'll start by calculating the mean. Okay, so in order to calculate the mean, we'll multiply the frequency by x, which will be the midpoint over here. And then 13 gets multiplied by 55, and we'll start adding this up. P gets multiplied by 65. Then 20 gets multiplied by 75, and then Q gets multiplied by 85. And this is something that you're going to divide by the total frequency, which by reading the question tells you that it's 80. Okay, and then this is equal to what? This is equal to 67.625. Up 67.625 is given in the question. Okay, 67.625 times 80 gives you 5410. Now I'll write down the final equation. This is 5410. Okay, after you cross multiply, and then if you start expanding, so उसके बाद क्या आ रहा है? 360 आ रहा है plus 715 plus 65p plus 1500 plus 85q equals to 5410. Now when you simplify this and get everything on one side, I'll tell you what you'll end up with. You will end up with P plus Q to be equal to 39. और इससे पहले क्या होगा? इससे पहले this is what you will have. 65P plus 85Q, which is equal to 2835. No, wait a minute. Yeah, this is what you will end up with. 65P plus 85Q equals to 2835. Now, if you want to simplify this, go ahead. If you don't want to do it, that's fine. Okay, but this is equation number 1. Now, how will we get the other equation? We need another piece of information through which we can form the other equation, and that we can form just by taking the total number of students. Total number of students कितने हैं? 80 हैं. So that means 8 plus 13 plus P plus 20 plus Q equals to what? Equals to 80. So P plus Q equals to 39 is what you will end up with. Okay. Now solve these two equations simultaneously. I'm going to skip a step over here just to speed things up. Solve these two equations simultaneously, and then you will have the value of P and Q. ठीक है, कर लेंगे आप लोग खुद ही simultaneously solve, या मैं करूँ? इतने तो smart हैं आप लोग. Okay, ये तो खुद कर लेंगे. Make P the subject, use substitution if you want. I will advise against elimination over here because, or maybe you can use elimination also, वैसे on the second thought, yeah. Solve simultaneously using substitution or elimination. Now if you do that right, these are the values that you will end up with. P equals to 24 and Q equals to 15. So there you go. That's your answer. Okay, now vectors, which I believe is the second to last question. Oh, no, it is the last question. Great. Now the first part is where you have to calculate the magnitude. So the magnitude of AB can be worked out by simply taking the square root of the square of minus 3 squared plus 5 squared. Okay, use your calculator. to find out the actual value. So that's going to be equal to 5.83. Then it says AC is 6, 2 and C is the point 10 comma minus 1. Find the coordinates of point A. Now questions like these I'm noticing are becoming more and more common where we have to use position vector. So AC can be formed by simply doing OC minus OA. Okay. Now we already have AC, that's 6, 2. Okay. OC is basically 10 comma minus 1. Alright. And then minus OA. So OA हमें नहीं पता. Okay, so we'll just let that be as it is. So if you make OA the subject, here's what happens. 10 minus 1 remains where it was. 6, 2 is what we subtract. So 10 minus 6 is 4. Minus 1 minus 2 is minus 3. So 4 minus 3 is your final answer. B is the midpoint of AD. Find the coordinates of point D. Okay. Now do we have the coordinates of B? No, we don't. Okay, let's call it x comma y. Do we have the coordinates of A? Yeah, we do. We have the coordinates of A. We just worked it out. It's 4 comma minus 3. And do we have the coordinates of D? No, we don't. Okay. अब इनमें से हम basically B के coordinates निकाल सकते हैं. Why? Because if you do OB minus OA, you get AB. And AB is something that I think we already have. Yeah, AB is something we already have. So OB minus OA, which is 4 and minus 3, equals to AB. And what's AB? AB is minus 3, 5. Now let's solve for OB. So OB is equals to minus 3, 5 plus 4 and minus 3. So minus 3 plus 4 is equals to 1. So now we're turning this into coordinates of B. And 5 plus minus 3 is going to be 5 minus 3, which is equal to 2. Okay. अब A के coordinates आ गए, B के coordinates आ गए, B as you know is the midpoint. So let's write it in the center. So here is A with coordinates 4 comma minus 3 and here is D with coordinates x comma y. Now as the question says that B is the midpoint, so you calculate the midpoint of A and D. That means 4 plus x upon 2 equated to 1. Then you calculate the y coordinate using minus 3 and y equated to 2. So 4 plus x equals to 2. That means x equals to minus 2. Okay. Then minus 3 plus y equals to 4. That means y is equals to 7. So there you go. Minus 2 comma 7 is your answer. 6 p.m. Add math stream at 6 p.m. Inshallah. Okay. Sir, can we round up the data given in the question? No, you can't do that. You can't do that. No. Unless the question says so, of course. Alright, now here's part B. Let's see what this says. The diagram shows triangle OPQ. OP is equals to P, OQ is equals to Q. Alright. R is the point on OQ such that OR is equals to twice of RQ. Okay. So basically using this, here's what I can do. OR and RQ are in the ratio 2:1. Okay. OR and RQ are in the ratio 2:1. Okay. S is the midpoint of PQ. Okay, very helpful. Express as simply as possible in terms of P and Q, PQ. So PQ पे जाने के लिए you're going to do PO plus OQ. PO plus OQ. So PO is minus P. OQ is Q. So there you go. Minus P plus Q is your answer. Pretty easy. There you go. OS. Okay, OS. So OS can be worked out by simply going from O to P and then from P to S. Now P to S will basically be half of PQ. Okay, because the question says that S is the midpoint of PQ. So OP is P and PS is going to be half of PQ, which means half of minus P plus Q. Now this requires a bit of simplification. P minus half P plus half Q. So here we have half P plus half Q as your final answer. Now if you want, you can take half common. Okay, it'll just make it look nicer, but if you don't, that's also perfectly alright. Then it says SR, which is also a 2-mark question. Okay, so how do you go from S to R? So here's what we can do. We can go from S to Q and then from Q to R. Now S to Q is easy. It's going to be half of PQ. Okay, So that means it's going to be half of minus p plus q. But the question is, how do we get qr? Okay, अब qr के लिए ज़रा थोड़ी मेहनत करनी पड़ेगी. rq निकालते हैं. So rq would be 1/3 of oq. Okay, why is that? Because as you can see, r divides this vector into 3 parts. OR takes 2, RQ takes 1. So RQ, as you can see, is now 1/3 of the total. So that means RQ is equal to 1/3 of Q. Okay, which means QR would be minus 1 upon 3Q. Okay, if you're changing the direction, then you change the sign. So plus QR is minus 1/3 of Q. So that means minus 1 upon 2P plus half Q minus 1 upon 3Q. So minus 1 upon 2p remains as it is. Half minus 1 upon 3. Let's figure this out on the side. So half minus 1 upon 3 is equal to minus 1 upon is equal to positive 1 upon 6. So plus 1 upon 6q. And there you go. That's the end of this paper. Now overall this was not a difficult paper. It was fairly easy. So yes, there were a few parts that were challenging, but overall I think it was on the easier side. Okay. So I'm going to stop here, and tomorrow inshallah I'm solving graphs of function. I'm doing questions on graphs of functions. If there are specific questions of graphs of functions that you want me to solve, you can message me on Instagram. Okay, but please be clear, mention the year, the question paper and everything. Okay, the variant, everything. So I'll include those questions in the stream as well. Okay, so that's it. I'll stop here. Keep studying. Good luck to those who have their exam tomorrow. I'll see you guys tomorrow. Take care. Allah Hafiz.